Welcome back to another Workshop Wednesday. Super glad to be back with everyone again today. We polled the crowd and we asked them what they're struggling with, and we decided we're going to go over that topic today with none other than our staging business developer, the one, the only Dawn Tucker. Woo! We need to have sound effects. How can we do sound effects? That would be so
We
cool
do.
to have little boop, you hit the button and it makes a sound effect. I know you can
Yeah.
do it. It's just probably a lot of work. So, Dawn, last week was incredible. We were able to really talk to a lot of people and meet them where they were at. How many phone calls did you have last week with the people that typed in the comments? Like 3 or 4, right? Or
I
was it more
did.
than
I had more than that. I probably had half a dozen calls talking with people after last week. Yes.
amazing? And that just goes to show you that we exist to see you succeed. So whether you're watching this live with us right now, we've got your back. If you're watching this tomorrow or a week from the day that we went live, we've got your back. We are here for the staging and design industry. It's what Dawn and I actually, we love people. We love to build people up. We love to encourage them. And so we know, y'all, we know this this business can be really challenging sometimes, right?
Yes. 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 It does have its challenges. You have your good days, but you have your bad days, and you have to learn how to embrace those bad days too.
Yes. And usually most of the stuff is it can transfer to your from your professional to your personal life too, so you're kind of getting a double dose. But we put a poll in our home staging network and we wanted to know from you, our viewers, our members, our rock stars out there, what are you struggling with? And one of those answers was getting more clients. Now I know it can kind of seem a little crazy because I also know that a lot of our staging and design family members out there are really struggling right now because they can't breathe because there's too much going on. And
Hmm.
that usually equals to process, procedure, and bringing staff on. And that could be a different topic for a different day. However, we know that it is hard, but you also want to make sure that you have what we call omnipresence within your sphere of influence everywhere. You are everywhere, so that you can get more clients in because I don't know, like a lot of people have a lot of clients that they still service, but maybe they don't want to service those clients, but they need their business, right? Like the ones that want to come in and pick the accent pillows, the ones that want to be in the home while you're staging. And so we're going to talk through today the different ways that you can reach more clientele, more customers for your business. And so I took out a piece of our staging and design marketing mastermind. One of the things that we went over in this like 2 weeks ago in DC, and I'm going to share it with you guys today. So this is the type of stuff we do at HSRA. We talk through these different things. We have masterminds, we have membership support, coaching. So we have all of those things, but I'm going to share and I'm going to quiz Dawn on the different things that she found successful in her staging and her design business with marketing. And there might be something on this list that she's like, oh, I never did that. Why didn't I think of that? Right. But guess what? Now you get to implement it. And so let me go ahead and share this. Give me a thumbs up if you guys see it. I believe you do because I'm seeing it. So this is the types of marketing. And so you might be asking, like I'm trying to attract more clients. I'm not trying to do marketing. Well, newsflash, in order to get more clients, you need to do more marketing, right? And we're here to help you through it. And so, Dawn, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being okay, 10 being amazing, killing it, where would you say in your staging and design business your marketing fell?
Hmm. That's tough. I would say probably in the very beginning, two, three, and then the more HSRA conferences I attended and gained the knowledge. Again, shameless plug, but it's true. When it's true, it's true. I got to say it. I was a business owner at the time. Um, Gained the knowledge of how important it was, and when I literally remember going into an HSRA conference and you guys were walking us through a live video. There were a lot of people in the room who didn't know specifically how to do certain things on social media, and I loved it. And began to realize the importance of putting my face and getting my business in front of people. So after 10 years, I would say easily between a 9 and a 10. I really felt good about what I was doing, and it kept me busy.
I would say I give you a 10 from being on the perspective of my side of it. I love social media. I've been trained for a very long time on how to build a personal brand for a person, how to build business brand. And so when I see something that's really good, it excites me. And I was always excited to see your social media around your two companies. And so talking through that, it does, I don't know the actual numbers on demographics of staging and design business owners, but I would guess that they're probably my age, which I'm 46. Maybe the majority are late 30s till retirement age, because we do know we have some of our members that are ready to retire. And we were brought up in such a way that you're not supposed to be vain. Holding your phone in front of you and doing videos meant that you were vain, right? But now, back then, we had phone books. We had billboards that people would use. We had newspapers and newsletters that we would send out, and a lot of that went away, right? And so we have to be in front of the camera. And it still blows my mind when I step into, conferences or workshops or masterminds, and people are still asking the same thing that you asked. How do I go live? How do I do a video? And I'm like, oh man, this is a great subject to continue to teach on. Don't think because you did it once that it goes away. And so today that's going to be one of the topics we're going to talk about in marketing and getting more clients. But let's start with hosting events. You're a staging company. You have a warehouse. Okay, so let's start with the people that have the warehouse, that have the space, that have furniture. What are some ways that Dawn's Designs hosted events at their location?
Dawn's Designs did a couple of different things. When I had a split office location that was more on site for the staff, and then my warehouse was off site. Two different things. And again, I want to give a quick shout out to the team that I had, because these ideas I did not come up with alone. It was taking my team to HSRA, all of us brainstorming and pulling these ideas together. So I got to throw credit to my team that I had. They were amazing. So we did a couple of things in the office on site. We did what we call Donuts with Dawn. That was one of my favorites. And that was really just to connect with specific groups of realtors that I really had targeted, and I really wanted to be in the business with them and have a relationship with them. And so it was more of an exclusive invite, right, to these realtors saying, hey, I'm going to give you coffee, pastries, donuts, and I just want 30 minutes of your time. And it's great for just networking. It's first thing in the morning. So they're just getting started. I got them right before they hit their 9 a.m. team meeting that everybody has. We did it at 8 a.m. and it was 45 minutes and they loved it. It was a hit. And then on the
donuts, come on.
Right?
Especially the cute ones with the pink and the sprinkles, and yes.
Yes. I have a cute picture that Danny, one of my girls, took of me doing that. And she, again, great team. And then on the flip side of that, in the warehouse or whether it was a different set of realtors or just investors, clients, I cannot tell you how many clients and realtors wanted a peek into my warehouse. It was like it was a gold mine. I still kind of wonder why, but I think they just were fascinated by how we organized things, how we logged it for inventory, what I had on site. They wanted, right before they hired me, they wanted a sneak peek of the dress I was getting ready to put on the mannequin, and I don't blame them. And so we did happy hour mixers, and it was in the warehouse. And So this gives them just a little bit of insight into the warehouse. They get a walkthrough, they get to touch my pillows, and they get to feel the sofas, and they get to see what I have to offer. I know some people are a little more nervous about that, but you really have to be open because and expose yourself to a certain extent if you really want to pull the right clients in. And it's also just developing that trust and that relationship with them. So hosting events, I love events, I love networking. I am a go to a party type of person. You tell me what time and I will be there. And so I loved hosting. And on the flip side, I would attend any event that I could on behalf of Dawn's Designs. And if I didn't or couldn't make it because I was with family, I would send somebody on my staff to represent us.
Awesome. And if you're watching this, I want to know what events you have. And so I love that. I love the hosting events. I love, to your point of the warehouse and them wanting to see what this also does for you is it adds value to your services, right? Because what does the realtor or the seller think? Oh, it's just the person that makes the property look good, like whatever. They don't understand the depth of what happens in a staging company, the logistics staff, the designers, the admin, the salespeople. Like, this is a legitimate business. And so when you bring them in to look under the hood, then they actually see there are so many things that go into this, and it really does add value to your services. So I definitely recommend that.
I think it's huge. I just want to say, you can also, with that said, let me piggyback quickly, Lori, is you get the beautiful thing about this is that you are in control of who will come and who you invite. So not every client or realtor I worked with got an invite to my warehouse or my happy space. And it wasn't because I didn't like them. It was more just, this is who I really had a relationship with, and this is who was exclusive and I was going to let inside of my warehouse. So that's the beautiful part about it, is that you get to pick and choose and begin to develop those relationships.
Love it. Yes, definitely put how you're hosting events for your staging company. Now, if you don't have a warehouse, if you're just starting out or you don't want a warehouse or you just do occupieds, a great way is to partner with title companies. Here in California, we have escrow companies, and you can host events together in their space. And you can come in as an educator, which again is dual purpose, as showing you as the expert and the value to your services. So don't think that just because you don't have a space that you can't host an event. You definitely can. So let's move on just to keep this train rolling because we've got a lot of ways. Client testimonials. So how can you get more clients? I think this is like one of the biggest ways you can get clients is by what other clients are saying. Hello, Yelp. How many people go to look for restaurants and businesses, and they want to see what other people are saying about you and your business? And so you have a lot of different ways. You can send a link to them for testimonials. Like if they don't want to be on camera, if you can get them on camera, that is golden, right? Them to actually do social media around what a great job you did. I just saw one the other day with Model My Home. The agent was doing the tour after the home was staged, and they were just blown away. So what did Model My Home do? They tagged Model My Home. They shared that. What's another step that you can do in your contract? You should have some disclosure, and that's a different talk for a different day, that you can definitely use all of the content that's built around this stage. However, they can also download that video, have their video editor recreate something. They can create reels, TikToks, they can put it on their website. So client testimonials are humongous. Do you have any creative ways that you use client testimonials?
Well, I think you covered that. We did a lot of walkthrough, little short videos, little snippets. We did just the reels and the lives. And we, again, when you tell a client or a realtor, investors, that you're going to tag not only them, but their business, and they in return do the same, then all of a sudden you've doubled and tripled the audience that you just got in front of. And so again, social media, huge, huge, huge. And that's what we did. But I also did have on the flip side of that, let me give you the good, bad, and ugly. We had a client that I had a designer go out, give her a consultation, left us a horrible review, even though my designer came back and said that she loved her and the feeling was mutual, so it seemed. And so that was devastating for my designer. She was in tears. She was hurt. And so basically, then I reached out to several of my friends who used me as a business. And I said, look, you know me, you know my business. Please go on there and we've got to overpower this review because it is absolutely not true. And I probably had 20 different reviews in less than 24 hours that were all 5-star as opposed to her 1-star.
Yeah.
And then I did tactfully respond to her review. And it's funny because at the end of the conversation with her, she wanted to hire us again. So it's just one of those things. And I just want to put it out there that if that happens to you, there's a way to rebound and recover. And don't be afraid to ask friends or family, people that have used you and know you and trust you, to go in there and just override the negative with the positive.
Yeah, that is so good. And that's the thing, is we can't control that negative review. I love that you had your friends and the people have used your services go back. When they hear that, they become kind of defensive with you. They're like, oh, no, they didn't, right? And then they do that. And I think that's really good. And I probably would have been like, okay, we will work with you, but you have to go remove that negative review because you clearly were having a bad day or something. So, all right, let's move on to text messages. So, Lori, how in the world are you going to market with text messages? Well, it's staying in contact. Part of marketing and building a clientele, at the end of the day, at the very foundation, your whole purpose is to build relationships. Build relationships with the people you want to work with the new clients coming in, having their phone numbers. One big tip I would say is there's a million different apps out there that you can use for text messaging. Like if you want to text your whole group of people that you've worked with, there's Sakari.io, there's simple texting. But the main mistake most companies make when sending out a group text to all of their clients is they don't personalize it. And so all you have to do, I know that Sakari.io, we use simple texting. They already have the thing where you just put in the little prompt to put their first name. Hey, Dawn, just checking in, seeing how your listings are going. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you in any way. Can't wait to talk to you next, or whatever. So simple. Just their name, whatever that is. So make sure that your text message is going out to clients. I would even challenge you, we just went over this in our mastermind, to reach out to clients that you have not worked with up to 2 years. It used to be a shorter time frame, but with the pandemic, you want to go back 2 years. Hey, Toby. Oh, that name just came to me. Hey, Toby. This is, Dawn from Dawn's Staging. And you came across my mind today. I wanted to check in. Are you still doing real estate? Then you're re-engaging that. That's the single text. That's not a group text. But hey, you came to my mind. Or if you do have a list of realtors that you haven't worked with 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or greater, then you could do that same thing. You just go in and you create that text message. You put the first name. Haven't heard from you in a while. Just wanted to see if you're still doing real estate. Can't wait to talk to you. Boom, done. Follow up. I can't stress this enough. I always say follow up is king or queen, depending on whatever. How many times can you follow up with the client? I would rather them be like, okay, I know you've updated me. I know you're going to be there in 5 minutes. I know you're going to call me when the stage is done. I know this, I know you're working on the proposal right now. Like, I would rather that happen than them call and complain. Like, I haven't heard from you. Were you going to send me that? Like, that's the worst. And anytime that maybe you're having a warehouse sale or you're doing some type of promotion, or if you have a cancellation, a great text would be like, hey, Sally, we just had someone cancel. We have an opening. Would you like it? Right. So if there's a reason, like maybe you're running light on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I read in the comments here, someone said that they've been super swamped and then all of a sudden September's open. Why not send out a text to some of your clients who have been on the fence of staging, or maybe they're getting some listings that are coming in? And why not text them and say, hey, we had a cancellation for next week. Would you consider having the home stage then? I can maybe fit you in, right? Because that gives them a sense of urgency. And it also means like, oh, they thought of me. They thought of me to do that, right? So, and then just building rapport in general with the people that you do have access to their phone numbers. Now, you do want to keep in mind, people consider their phones very personal. They like their personal time and their space. So I would definitely say, do not text them every day. But depending on the degree of what the lead is, if it's somebody you're already doing business with, think about all the different times you can inform them of where their stage is in the process. Thank you. We received your, the payment. We're going to be pulling, blah, blah, blah. We're expected on this day between those times. On that day, we're leaving the dock. Our estimated arrival, we'll let you know when we're finished, when they're finished. Hey, we just finished. We can't wait for you to see it. Maybe you show a little video to them on the text message. Then it's like a follow-up, like just checking to see if you had any questions or whatever. We did some social media. We wanted to share it with you, share the link. So you don't want to do it every single day, but you want to keep them in the know. Now, if it's a client who's on the fence, my personal thing would be, until they tell you to stop texting them, keep texting and asking them. Because if you knew you had the antidote to something that was going to harm them, you love them, you would just text. You would want them to know. So, Dawn, how did you utilize text in getting clients?
I could not wait to go over this subject, and so I was sitting here about to explode. One on this, I'm just going to quickly. You did great on covering the staging side of things. When we were staging, we were communicating via text with whoever we were staging for, or whoever the client was. Again, realtor, investor, actual client themselves. Hey, this is Dawn. I want to confirm that we're coming at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, September, whatever. And then, hey, this is Dawn. We're loading up the truck and we're headed your way. And then, of course, when we left, this is Dawn. I am so excited. The house looks wonderful. I cannot wait for you to see. And again, just really selling it to them that we gave them our all. So you hit it great on the staging side. I'm going to hit it from the design side quick. And I really want you, if you are in design or staging, you better sit down and take a pen and listen to this piece of advice, because this sells me every time. And I told this to my team. I have a store here in Wichita, and I love to shop there. And every time a specific piece of clothing comes in and it makes the sales girl think of me, she texts me a picture of that product, the price, and says, Dawn, you got to get in here because this is for you. And so on the design side, I told my girls, when you begin to develop a relationship with a realtor or a client, say you have a chair or a clock that your realtor loved and they commented on every time you staged a house with it, but it's time to sell it and restock, guess who you're going to text? And I guarantee you, guess who's going to buy that chair and that clock? The realtor. On the design side. So we've developed a relationship. Design's very personal, right? And my client they just hired us to do the kitchen, but we've seen their whole house because we've been in it for a dozen times. So now that we have a relationship, my designer texts the client when she's at a kitchen place or she sees some tile and she's like, hey, I know we're not hitting your kitchen, but someday when you're ready, look at this tile and I want you to imagine it on your fireplace. Imagine it in your kitchen as your backsplash. Let's put it in the back of your bookcase. And all of a sudden we were selling design jobs because of one text message, shooting a picture of one item. We were selling jobs that way. I was selling product that I was going to end up selling anyways and overturning and restocking with to realtors. So again, text messaging, one text, it is personal, but guess what? you're selling, you're making profit, and you just made it personal and made them think, I just thought of you when I thought of this product. And it speaks volumes to whoever it is that you're texting.
Yeah. And back to building relationship. Be that your clients, your customers feel seen, heard, and valued. How are you doing that through these ways? Hosting events, sharing client testimonials, text messaging them. And now we're going to move on to company branding. So how in the world would this create more clients? You got to speak their language. When I come to a website that's well done, the company branding is well done, I want to be a part of it. So let's look at the overall of everything you put out there on behalf of your client or potential client. That potential client very specifically should know whether they see something from you on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on a flyer that came in the mail, whichever way that you want to market people, they should know with a glance, oh, this is Model My Home, or oh, this is so and so. You have got to make sure that every piece that is visual, that can be seen or touched, has your company brand. I know it sounds silly, but it's the text. We fall short on this sometimes too. Like, oh, we created this website. It doesn't have the same text font that we use on our regular website. And then we have to go back. It's easy to forget. And so you want to make sure that all your fonts, you have multiple fonts that look similar, because some platforms won't have certain fonts, but there's always a second best that looks almost like it. You want to have all the fonts the same. You want to have your brand color. If you guys don't know types of marketing, that's HSRA red. It's a special hex code that we all know that every time we create something, if there's red, Dawn's glasses are almost HSRA red, if I could guess. And we didn't plan that. That wasn't part of our branding. He's just so natural at it, right? So you want to make sure that you're branding across the board. I know trends come and go, but when it comes to your company and the branding, it has to be universal across all. You can't be like, oh, well, on TikTok, I'm just going to do this. Like, I'm going to just do everything in cursive. Well, guess what? Nobody's going to be able to read it, right? So you want to make sure that's also even too. If you do want to have script, make sure the script is readable, and make sure that everything that you do within the branding realm of things matches across the board. Dawn, you did that fantastically. Everyone knew you, and everyone knew that when you transitioned from staging to design, I think you did, if I remember correctly, a little bit of an update, but it was similar enough to say, hey, this is something new. You recognize it. You recognize my colors. You recognize the name. The font or the logo is a little bit different. Do you want to share about that?
I will. I think that when I first started Dawn's Designs, and just like you said, the importance of consistency. When I started Dawn's Designs, I sat down with a professor. So what I did, a little tidbit for stagers and designers. As I sat down with the professor of Wichita State University, which is a college here, go Shockers. And he has an art and graphic class, right? And so I paid him a specific amount, and he made this an assignment for his class. And I'm telling you what, I paid so much less than I would have if I had gone anywhere else, because I didn't have a big budget, right? I was just starting. But when I sat down with him, I said, I want, when people look at that, look at our screen. When you look at the F, you know it's Facebook. Yes. When you look at that M, you know it's Gmail. When you look at a bird, you know it's Twitter. When I sat down with him, I said, I want you to give me something simple and straightforward. And when somebody looks at it, whether they're on the east side or west side, they're going to know it's Dawn's Designs. And so that is huge with me. I wanted simple, I wanted clean, and I wanted just one specific thing. And boy, did they come through. The class gave me some great ideas. It was hard to pick. But then when I decided to switch from staging to design, basically I sat down with who I collaborated with. And we both said, look, I'm not losing my Dawn's Designs. I've worked long and hard for Dawn's Designs. I don't want to lose this. So how do we bring in the other opportunities that we're going to do or present and give. And so that's what we did. We kept the D in the little box. I wish I could screen share it with you. I don't have it on this set.
You can put it in the comments later.
I should. I will. I'm going to put it in the comments so you guys can see what it was before and then what it was after, and how, and the difference that it was. And it just, again, it just shifted slightly, but people still knew on the east side or the west side, they knew it was still Dawn's Designs that did this job.
Yes. And that carries perfectly into your website design. Your website and your social media marketing cannot be different. The colors need to be the same. The language, they need to know where they landed and what you offer. And one thing I know that Jana shared at one of our summits that was like a mind blower was she asked everyone, do you have a quick staging quote on your first page? Like literally, do you have where they could just fill out the information? They don't have to call. They literally can fill everything out. And then you can, like, in 15 minutes, get a quote, right? And that was so instrumental to so many businesses growing when she rolled that out a few years ago. And I thought, you know, does your website have that? Does your website make it easy for someone to really just click and buy and not even have to talk to somebody? I know that Model My Home, her staging company, has evolved since then. And they do have the option. They have received many stages where they don't even talk to the person. They just literally book. How sweet would that be? To come in every morning, money, mailbox money, what we like to call it, and it's just there. And you just have to call the follow-up to make sure they weren't trying to like pull one on you like, oh, it's, you know, I just want to have these 3 rooms. And then you find out it's like 6 more rooms. And so you do need to do a little due diligence, but they already paid you. So that just makes you want to work even harder, right? So make sure that everything on your website matches what your branding is, that when they look at it, they recognize it. And then easeability of the website. So how easy is it for them to see what they want to see? They definitely want to see a gallery, something of what they're going to get, what to expect. They definitely want to be able to just give the information and get a quote. So they want to know about you. They want to know about your team. They want to know, do you have a warehouse? Do you not? What do you love about it? Those are all things you want to put on your website. So the next thing that kind of partners into this is product experience. That is going to be one of the greatest ways that you get clients. If your client walks into a property and the experience that they have is so amazing because your product doesn't have to be super expensive, right, Dawn? It could just be the way you placed it. It's space management, right? They love it. What are they going to do? They're going to use you again. They're going to sing from the mountaintops. They're going to do social media around it. And so making sure that the product that you're putting in the homes or in whatever you're staging gives them the experience that they want. Dawn, you have anything you want to add regarding product experience?
I just want to say with product experience, when you have them going into the home, make sure that when you give them that experience, you have somewhere. I would always put in a frame on a bookshelf. I would put my brand, or I would put something with my logo. Again, it wasn't overkill. It wasn't a bunch of cards laying around. It wasn't brochures, but it was a simple frame with my logo. It basically, my stamp of approval was put on that product experience. So when they walked in and I knew they were going to love it, my stamp was there.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, you just reminded me, another great thing to get a new client is you also should always have, I know Model My Home does this, a frame somewhere in the house that says, you can buy this house with the furniture, right? So that could be another way to get a client is they may not be staging, but they're going to purchase that furniture that's in the home, because when they have that experience, we all know it. We've walked into the model home and we're like, oh man, this is so amazing. I just want to live here. To know that, oh my gosh, this can be my stuff. Like, that's one of the things that I remember in the early days of HGTV, I was so disappointed in, is someone told me, oh, the furniture doesn't stay in those houses. They just stage it. I was like, what? Well, that's silly. Like, why do they do that? And I was like, man, I don't know why it disappointed me so much, but I was like, I really thought that when they did those makeover homes and stuff like that, that the furniture just stayed in it, especially when you're following like a tragic story or something and you want that for them. And so who doesn't want the model home furniture in it? And it's probably at a fraction of the cost if they went and bought all the stuff, right? So make sure you have that. All right, so we're going to move.
Let me say two more things with that, Lori. QR codes. They can do things with QR codes, whether it's to your website or it's to a price list. You can put a QR code down. And then second, you're right. I just sold my house a month ago. I staged my own house. To my defense, I told my realtor that if they wanted to bring in another stager, that was okay, because I know that it was personal. I staged my own house. They loved it. I had somebody come in and ask me if they could buy everything in my house with my house. They wanted everything, even the stuff on my porch, my planters, my bench, my cushions. They wanted everything. So a well-staged home it will sell.
Yes. I mean, it's for some people, because what happens too is once all the stuff's taken out and the buyer comes in, they're like, oh, how was that? And then I guarantee you they're looking at the listing pictures.
Yep.
I've done the same thing. Like when we moved into our current house, they had the master bedroom set up in the model home where it had the bed and had a sofa in front of it, like for a TV watching area. And I replicated that exactly in our master bedroom, right? So I looked at the thing. I was like, oh, okay, because it's a really giant room. Like, what do you do once you get your bed in? It takes up space. And so, yeah, definitely do that. Make sure you have the QR codes on everything. And maybe they just want to buy the sofa, just the sofa, like, being able for them to do that. Also, everybody else, think about how many other people are in the property on open houses, inspectors that come through, other people that come through. If there's a QR code that they're like, hey, I really like this, they literally can become a new client for you. Or they could be like, oh, this is staged. I thought this was, the seller's stuff. So that's very important. All right, teaching CE classes. If you teach CE classes currently, I want you to put it in the comments. This is a great way to get more clientele. HSRA has a program where we can get you certified in about 48 different states. There's a few states that are a little bit wonky, that don't allow it, don't see staging yet as something that could be a CE class. But teaching a CE class in front of realtors is really a win-win. One, realtors have to have a CE class, right? Two, although you cannot pitch your company in front of them, you could say what I do or what we've done in the past has really worked because of whatever. So what happens after the CE class? They come up to you. They know you're a stager. They want your opinion. They want to work with you. And I know there's some states that people actually just do CE classes, but the realtors don't get credit. And there's some states where a lot of our stagers that are certified as a CE teacher, depending on the state, each state's different. Some they're used to charging like $20, right? Some they do it for free. Sometimes the title company will cover your cost of doing that. So it's a win-win-win situation, but they have to have the CE classes anyway to renew their license. So I definitely think teaching CE is amazing. So if you're interested in that, put it in the comments. We can give you the link. Literally, we certify you. We give you what's already been approved for the state to teach in your state, your specifics. And then that cuts out all of the work that you have to do, because let's just be real, you're super busy right now. You do not want to write up curriculum, write up the PowerPoint, send it to the state for the state to take 2 weeks to come back to you to say, nope, this isn't right, change this. It's a nightmare. So anything you want to add to that, Dawn, before we're wrapping this up?
Just quickly, I did for about a year and a half. I taught CE classes in one of my spaces and in our design center. And again, it was just putting me in front of realtor teams. I invited the team itself. A lot of times the team lead of that group would pay, and then we would host it over lunch, and then we would provide a box lunch for them. And they would pay ahead of time. And it was, I think it was $15 or $20, and they got, a pretty decent box lunch. And then Dawn's Designs provided dessert with, of course, my logo on them. But it just got them in front of us. And again, it just developed relationships. And you're right, with the slideshow, I presented only my work and explained why I did what I did and where I did it. And it all began to click with them. And it basically was, cashing a check right there. They all knew that they could trust me. They liked me. They saw what I could bring to the table. And then they also saw what I could leave in their home. So it was a win-win.
Love it. All right, one of my favorite topics, social media marketing. How are you marketing? I'm going to go through this quick because we're kind of long today, but this is awesome content. So sorry. So social media marketing, the more the better. You pick up this phone, you educate your clients, you create before and after social media, you do walkthroughs. I always recommend to people who are like, well, what do I do for social media? Get with your social media person, or let's just be honest, if that's you, you're going to sit down and you're going to choose 3. Just start with 3. 3 things that I do every day on social media. 1, a before and after. You might say, hey, Lori, I haven't done a stage in a month. Okay, well, take all of the stages from your past and you're just going to reuse them, right? 2, educate the people that are around you. Hey, I'm in the warehouse today. I just want to show you this new inventory we got in. We're so excited. Or, hey, we were able to help this client. We can't wait to stage this home. Hey, if you're in the Richardson area of Texas, they just opened a new restaurant. I hope you guys check it out. What does that do? That tells people in that neighborhood that you service their neighborhood, right? So before and afters, education, and then maybe just some fun stuff, a day in the life. Those are just 3 simple things that you can do. I also go in, and maybe if you guys want this, Dawn and I can walk through it, but how to organize your social media, specifically on Instagram. I'm super passionate about it, what your Instagram page should look like. So put that in the comments if you want that. We'll get that on the schedule. Dawn, how many different ways did you guys do social media? Because you really did kill it on social media.
We hit as many platforms as we could, but again, I had a great team, and I didn't start that way. It started with just me, and I just want to say to the new stager, when it was just me and I didn't have a lot of before and afters, I went to my friends and my family and I said, pick a space that you want me to reorganize and or redecorate, and even with some of their own things, and I took before and after pictures. And so again, never say never. That's my point. Never say never. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you don't have it, you make it and you produce it.
Yes, you just reminded me of a stager I know who's just getting started, who doesn't have any footage, right? Well, here and there. This person is doing design boards, right? They do the design board of an outdoor space and they say why they love it, what's so cool about it. And if this is something you would love, I can help you. DM me. And then when they DM her, what she does, since she's not a vacant stager, she's an occupied stager, or she just goes in and does walk and talks, she'll say, here's what this is. I can give you my discount for it, and this is what it would cost, and then this is my cost to come out and do it. Or she talks to them there, but she starts with just the design file, creating cool spaces, and then saying, if this is something that you would like in your home or to do, in your space, DM me and we can talk about it. I thought that was brilliant because I haven't seen that before. And for the newbie stager, I was like, that's awesome. Like, that is a great way to do that. And then secondly, obviously, you need to redesign every room in your home. Mess up a room. You know what looks good and doesn't, right? Mess one up and then fix it, right?
Yep.
All right. So pop buys, those are so fun. A lot of people haven't done them in a long time because of the pandemic. But let me tell you, don't sleep on pop buys. Those are so fun, right? So maybe it's coffee or something for the office. I like you a latte. Those are things I love. Just go on Pinterest and search different things. I don't know, Dawn, if you have some examples of pop buys that you guys did. Well, you shared the donut thing, but that was inviting people in. But don't let your house sit on the market too long. Stage with us. I'm super corny, so I love those kinds of things, but people really do appreciate those.
They do. I think that we would always try to think of creative ways around holidays, especially because then you could come up with some of those cheesy little one-liners and tag it with something. For instance, in the spring, we would give them the little bags of seeds are so cheap. And so we hope that you continue to grow with us, and it's seeds. And then there's, cookies, donuts. We did Valentine's Day, we would make little bags. We did just little plastic pumpkins. You can buy a whole bag of them. And we, it's just coming up with those one-liners and then tagging it with something specific for, and if you look on the internet, there's actually a calendar for National Day, National Pizza Day, National whatever day. Just make it a day and you're popping by. And again, people just love to get something. Even if they use it once and never use it again, guess what? They've thought of you. They know that you've thought of them. And again, personal. You just made it personal. And so that just speaks volumes for them. So Popeyes were actually one of my favorite things to do. And I had my team spread out and do it. And I actually went, before I had a team, my kids are old enough to drive. So they went out and they helped me do it. And all I had to do was pay them with like a Scooters, which is like a Starbucks, iced coffee. And so find, again, where there's a will, there's a way.
100%. And the latest Popeye idea I heard at a conference was they said that you could buy like chocolate feet. And so for those, I was like, what? But I'm sure you can. You can find it on Amazon or whatever, just some type of candy that's a foot and then saying, just trying to get my foot in the door. Like, I thought that was so funny, right? Those are for the realtors that you haven't worked with yet, but that you want to. And then the last thing I'll say before we get to our final topic is when I worked in real estate for 10 years, I sat right outside of the broker's office. I did dual work with being like transaction coordinator and receptionist and all of the things, right? So the title reps at the time and the escrow reps would come in and I would have they would spend maybe 10, 15 minutes with me. We talk about all kinds of things, right? They give me the goodies. I'd be so excited. Back then, this was right before 2008. They were giving me Dodger tickets, Laker tickets. It was amazing because big fan. I was making my husband very happy, right? Yeah. But they would never really get access to the broker. They got access to me, right? Don't discount that because when the broker's all crazy running around, I need this. Who do you think I said? Use Ron. He is so great. He has great customer service. I love Ron, whatever. I don't know how the title company really worked, but I knew Ron. I knew Ron was faithful. He'd come every month and drop me off some goodies. So don't discount that either when you're doing Popeyes and building relationships with the staff that you can talk to if they have a receptionist or some type of situation like that. Never discount those receptionists, the admin, the transaction coordinators, because they're the like person that the agent or the broker are going to come to and be like, who should I use? Or call the title person, so don't just, okay. Last but not least, email marketing. This is kind of a given. If you're not using a CRM, I know you can do MailChimp's pretty good. Just create a list, import it into MailChimp, send out newsletters. That's a really big one. Canva is your best friend. I mean, even like our staff here at Model My Home and HSRA all have the ability to work in the big boy things like Photoshop and Adobe and all of those, right? But it's so much easier for us to create things in Canva. So why not just use that? It's so much faster. You don't have to have all the technicalities or whatever, but create a newsletter, send out emails, updates, market updates, join a platform like Keeping Current Matters that gives real estate news. Send that out to your realtors and learn about it too, because they want you to know that, you understand their struggle, right? That you're on the struggle bus with them. And so making sure that you're doing email campaigns on a regular basis. It's kind of hard when you're first starting out because you're doing everything. You're wearing every hat. You're having to do everything that's on this wheel, but don't discount that because it is important. People will go back to your email folder and look at things. So Dawn, did you have any success stories you wanted to share about email marketing?
I think that with email marketing, we use Canva a lot. Two, I had a CRM, but we did newsletters a lot. And with the newsletters, again, relationships. So we would ask a photographer to take a photo and then they in turn, again, return on investment. We had a relationship. They would do more photography for us, but we would credit and tag them in a newsletter and put them in front of hundreds of other people as an audience. So begin to think, who can I partner with? Who can I build a relationship with? and use them in that newsletter. And I know because I've been there, when it's just you and you're just starting, it's really hard. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. But I really want you to start to think outside of the box as to who you can use besides just the inner circle of people that will use you. Think about photographers. Think about when you go down to get the treats for the pop buys, and you just tell them who you are, what you do, and just develop those relationships, because you never know when somebody is going to need a stager or designer. And guess what? Just like you said, Lori, when you've taken a moment to just get to know somebody and to give them a shout out, then they're going to return the favor.
Awesome. We hit all the points under an hour, so that's good. But ending on your point, take the time to get to know people. We want to take the time to get to know you. If you're not part of our HSRA membership, we would love to get to know you. All of our members, I say 99.9% of our members, we know why, because we have regular conversations with them. Dawn is scheduling check-in calls, and she does discovery calls, and I jump on some, and we talk to members. We even talk to members outside of their job. Like, this is literally our community to support each other, to grow friendships, to encourage each other. And the great thing about getting to know somebody is that they might have something that can help you in your business, and you never even knew because you didn't take the time to have a relationship. So we want to get to know you. We want to encourage you. So be sure to put in the comments, I want to get to know you. I want to talk to you on the phone. I want to have a discovery call with you. Whatever those comments are, we're on them. For those of you that watched last week, you definitely know that's for sure. So we are here for you. And we just want to see you grow, even in this crazy, crazy, crazy market. Some of you might, be hearing crickets right now. Some of you are really busy. One thing's for sure is that ever since the pandemic, we cannot predict the market. We can't. Typically, I feel like 4 years ago at this time, it would still be busy because we're rounding off the summer, right? And then we all expect it to be slow in the winter. We can't guarantee that. But what we can guarantee is that we're here to see you grow, and we're here to support you. So last words of encouragement, Dawn, before we wrap this thing up?
I think you said it all. I just really want to encourage people. I love that my job at HSRA is to help no matter what phase you're in, as a new stager, as a new designer, all the way up to seasoned. If I don't have the answer, because I don't know everything, I will find the answer. I'll connect you with somebody who maybe has the answer or the same struggle. Again, we're all about relationships and just developing relationships. How can we help you? And so just give us a shout out. Give me a shout out.
Yes, for sure. And thank goodness we have Jana. Like, she is the forerunner in all things. And so she's been there, done that 99% of the time. And so we have direct access to her, like on the Charlie's Angels phone. Let me just pick it up. Hey, we have this question. So we're here for you. We'll see you next week. Put in the comments what you want to see next week so we can plan ahead and have some content for you. Otherwise, we'll just go off of the polls that you guys have answered, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks so much.